Good morning and welcome to Pet Pals. This is Bethany Davidson, the Humane Educator here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center with our volunteer coordinator, Sean Snyder. And October is Adopt a Shelter Dog Month. So again, because of our large population, and the significance of the month, we are bringing you all dogs today. But with a little bit of a change of pace, we do have a smaller dog today, but smaller in size only. She has big dog energy, big dog attitude. This is Cherry. She is a terrier mix. Usually we say terrier mix and we're thinking about, pit bull terriers, things like that. But there are smaller terriers, rat terriers, Jack Russell terriers, those types of things. And she falls into one of those categories. She's about 20 pounds and 3 to 4 years old. And needs just as much exercise as any of our big dogs, if not more. She is a fan of running. She usually runs around in this room, so she loves to run. She likes to show off her various parkour skills. She's just a lot. As some people would say, she's a little extra. So if you're looking for a small dog to kind of sit on your lap and do all those things, she does calm down and she enjoys some affection, but that's not her main thing. Her main thing is running and playing and being active. She's very, very treat motivated, and she already knows quite a few behaviors. She knows sit, she knows down, she knows paw. She does some other things that we can't quite figure out what the cue word for is. She likes to, if you wait too long to give her a treat, she'll jump up in the air and spin. So all of those things could be fairly easily put on cue. She does need to learn to take those treats a little more nicely, a little more gently. She gets really excited. I don't know if anybody saw our taco video. She ate her taco faster than any of the big dogs. They're 4 times her size, and she ate it just as quickly as they did. So learning to be a little bit patient about the treats is going to be important for her. While she is a smaller dog, a lot of people might think smaller kids. We're recommending her for, no really small children because, as you can see, she's kind of all over the place. She would definitely knock down a toddler. She would definitely steal a toddler's snack. So we're looking for kids just a little bit older for Cherry and her energy level. But again, remembering she's not going to be the dog that just lounges with you on the couch all day. She wants to run and play and go on hikes and do all those types of things. So a more active family might be a better fit for Cherry.
So as you mentioned, small dog, big energy. So I'm wondering, how does she do with other dogs?
So the thing with Cherry is she's cool with dogs that are about her size. She doesn't like the big dogs. She's not a fan. She likes to stir up trouble. They make her a little bit nervous. So definitely looking for, dogs that are smaller. She seems to be okay with, our little shepherd mix Shiba or the bonded Chihuahuas that we have. When we had Pookie, the Corgi mix, all of those dogs were kind of in her size range in that, 25 pounds or less range, which is where she feels more comfortable. Wouldn't advise her living in a home with dogs that are, the size of most of the dogs we're going to have on the show today. But because she can be a little picky, meet and greets are always required, but definitely really important in the case of Cherry to make sure she's going to get into a home where she's going to feel comfortable. It's going to be a long-term placement for her. So if you think that you have the energy level that matches Cherry's and you want to make her part of your family, the first step is going to be to go online and book that appointment to visit with her. And you can do that by going to visit fcac.as.me. Our next guest is more of what you typically see with our available dogs here. This is Diana, and she is a 2 to 3 year old, again, terrier mix. And she has that beautiful chocolate color that helps her stand out a little bit. And she's been here since the beginning of September, and she's really now just starting to get comfortable and really come out of her shell. When she first got here, she was definitely a little bit shyer, kind of more reserved in her affection and things like that. But today she's, definitely showing that she's definitely turned a corner, and she was all in your space. Yeah. She wants to, be in your lap, give you cuddles. She's, definitely more playful and more responsive. She does know sit, and she knows, I think she might know paw as well. She takes treats pretty nicely. So we're just, even though she's been with us for over a month now, we're really just starting to get to know her because she was so nervous and she just wasn't feeling super comfortable yet. So as we get to know our dogs, we do try to put more information out there. Our volunteers are also really helpful in that way. If you look on our Facebook page, a lot of our regular volunteers will go in the comment section under their profile pictures and put little comments about things that they've noticed about the dogs, things they like, things they don't like. So that can also be really helpful when you're making decisions about who you want to make part of your family. She does have a tendency to not really be super interested in toys. Some dogs come in, they're strays and things like that. They don't really know how to play with toys yet. So that's something that she's still kind of figuring out, but no issues with her food. She reacts favorably to the other dogs, which is a really good thing. A lot of people are looking to add an additional dog to their household, things like that. But because she can be a little bit fearful and shy initially, we are looking again for her, like with Cherry, no small children in the household.
So she has a common fear among dogs. What is her fear?
So loud noises. A lot of dogs really don't like loud noises, whether it's thunderstorms or fireworks or sirens and things like that. But we've definitely noticed here that she doesn't like a lot of the loud noises. Sometimes even the other dogs can be a little upsetting. The dropping of the guillotine door and things like that. So just we try to take a note of that and be cautious and make sure we're not upsetting her in that by making those types of noises. But in a home environment, that's something that an adopter would want to think about. Are you listening to really loud music all the time? Are your kids making lots of loud noises? Are you doing construction right now? All of those types of things might affect her. And there are ways to help with that, whether it's getting her a thunder shirt or playing music in the background or taking her out for a walk when there's going to be lots of loud noises. And also just helping to do a little bit of counter conditioning, which is something that we could go over in an adoption interview if you were to make her a part of your family. The first step to do that is always going online and booking that visitation appointment. That website can be found at visitfcac.as.me. Our next guest is one of several dogs that came, unfortunately, from a hoarding situation locally. This is Marvel, and he is a Catahoula leopard dog mix. They have that great coloring in that coat. This is a breed that is more prominent in the South. They are a hunting dog that comes from the state of Louisiana, and a lot of them, because they're so beautiful, have made their way up further north. So once he gets comfortable, he is going to be more of an active guy. So these guys, his dad is actually a Catahoula leopard dog that's still available for adoption named Mosaic, who's about 2. And then his mom was a really small lab mix named Raven, who's since been adopted. So they are Catahoula lab mixes. He's about 8 months old at this point. And because he didn't really spend much of his life thus far outside, he was really stuck in one room. Everything is still new to Marvel. So he's looking for a family that's going to be really patient and really understanding and just show him that the world is a positive place where, things that he's experiencing are good, which means, lots of praise and affection and toys. These guys have never really been fearful of people because they were used to being around people. They just weren't used to leaving their home or, being around new items, things like stairs and doors. We've been teaching them how to walk on leash. They have pretty quickly figured out the toy situation, and so when they're in their kennels where they feel comfortable, they love playing with toys. So we've been doing a lot of work with these guys, but again, a patient home. We don't really have any restrictions, but just understanding these guys are not house trained at all, so they are going to need all of those basics in addition to just that counter conditioning and just that socialization that they really missed during their formative years.
So as you mentioned, he came from a home with several other dogs, but he's a little bit different. What makes him different? So
what makes Marvel different is that during their exams, they discovered that he actually has a heart murmur. And we get a lot of animals with, low-grade heart murmurs, and some of them will grow out of it, but Marvel here actually has a grade 5 heart murmur. And so for people who aren't aware, that's a heart condition. It's something that you can often hear in the stethoscope. Because his is so prominent, you don't even have to be super close to his chest to detect it. Our vet thinks that it's probably a congenital thing. So Grade 5 can be potentially pretty serious depending on what's causing that. So that's something that any adopter that's taking Marvel on would have to be thinking about. His life expectancy may be a little bit shorter due to that condition, or he may need some more vet care. May need to see a veterinary cardiologist, things like that. But still a dog that's deserving of a good home. He made it through his neuter surgery without incident. We can't tell the future, but we do want everybody to kind of be aware that he may have some more medical needs than some of the other dogs that are available for adoption right now. We are willing to obviously have any of our medical staff talk with potential adopters. We're also willing to provide you with the medical records so that you can show them to your vet before making a final decision on whether or not you want to take this sweet little guy and make him part of your family. The first step is always meeting the dog. And if you want to meet with Marvel, you can go to visit fcac.as.me to book that appointment. Our next dog is another one of our smaller ones, and she is a Basset Hound mix. This is Monkey. At this point, she's about 7 months old, and I would say that Monkey also tends to have some big dog energy. She's calms down a little bit faster than Cherry does, but in my experience, Monkey can be quite the crazy active girl. She is a hound mix, so obviously she's going to follow her nose and do all of those things. But she's a fun dog. She does enjoy affection, but she definitely loves to run and play. I think she was trying to meet some potential adopters, and they let her off leash in the mulch yard, and then she was like, see ya. Didn't really want to engage, just wanted to go run and play. So, even though she is a smaller dog, she still, has those energy needs. And because she is still a really young dog, she's still learning those basic good manners. So she does need somebody who's going to continue to work with her on that so that she can be the best version of herself as she continues to grow into an adult dog.
So Monkey was fortunate enough to attend a week-long puppy camp. What are some of the things we learned from her attendance there? So we learned, what she, the things that she did well with. We have a nice write-up from the person who worked with her that entire week, stating, things like, she's affectionate and she's playful and, the things that they worked on. But something that's going to be really important to an adopter is that they did mention she can be a little dog reactive initially, whether that's just the leash and she wants to go up and play. She is able to be redirected away from that, but that's something to take into consideration if you're having her out where there's going to be a bunch of other dogs present, or if you have an existing dog in your home, really making sure that you're doing the meet and greets here, that you're, doing the proper integration in the home. We also learned that when she has something she really, really likes, she can be a little bit of a resource guarder. She's not the first dog to not want to give up, a hoof filled with cheese, but something that you really just don't want to take those things away. We've had other resource guarders, in the past. Evan doesn't like to necessarily share his squeaky toys with people, so we can go over all of those things with potential adopters, talking about teaching trade, which she has already learned, so that you can get those things that she shouldn't have away from her, ways to make her feel less nervous that you're going to take those items away from her by doing some I come in peace protocols. But we can go over all of those things with potential adopters to make sure that everybody's going to be nice and safe and happy in the home. We do have her listed as going to a home with any age child, but just keeping in mind some of those things that we learned after we made those recommendations in terms of like the resource guarding and stuff like that, to make sure that any young child in the home would be safe if they have some really delicious snacks on the couch and Monkey's hanging out there. If you are interested in making Monkey part of your family, we are continuing to do the meeting the dogs outside thing during the month of October. So you can book your appointment, come through, check out the catalog, or go online and look through all of the profiles of the dogs there to make your decision on who you want to meet. But again, going to visit FCAC.as.me is going to be the way to book that appointment and find downloadable applications for Monkey or any of our other adoptable pets. Our next guest is one of our boxer mixes, one of 2 boxer mixes we have right now. This is the female. This is Pineapple. She's got this great brindle and white coat. If you are looking for a male boxer mix, we also have Turner. He acquired that name because he looks like Hooch from Turner and Hooch.
a little bit there in his face. So we do have two options. One of the best things about Pineapple, though, is her underbite. I love it. It's super cute. She's either showing you her bottom teethers or her jowls get stuck in her canines, and she's showing you all of her teeth all the time. She's a really sweet dog with a great smile. She enjoys affection, but she can be pretty active. You wouldn't think that, given her size, that she would be jumping up the way that she does, but when she sees the other dogs walk by, she gets really excited and she's all jumping all over the place. She does really well with them. In fact, they were doing some, I believe, parallel walks the other day they were telling me about. So she is going to be a dog that probably will do pretty well with existing dogs in the household. But because, obviously she's a little bit on the thinner side, thinking about resource guarding, making sure you're feeding your animals separately, not tossing food out onto the floor, because, she definitely wants to be able to have access to food. Doesn't really dig the toys. She hasn't really figured out toys, but as you can see, she really loves petting and affection with humans. She knows how to sit already, which is a really nice thing. So that really helps with, working on good manners when they already have that existing sit down. And our staff have just fallen in love with her, and are definitely looking to find her the best possible home where she's going to get all of the care and love that she deserves.
As you mentioned, viewers can probably see she's a little bit thin. So what are we doing to get her back to a healthy weight?
So a lot of people think that when, you get a dog that comes in that's thin, you just feed them. That's actually not the way to go. You want to start slowly building up their caloric intake, because if you feed them too much too fast, you can actually cause other medical conditions. Turner, the other boxer mix, is on the thin side as well. So we have them on, special diets where we're slowly, upping their level of food. And that's another thing we talked about a little bit about resource guarding. Like, she's still learning that food is readily available to her. A lot of the animals, whether they're, when they're stray, whether they're thin or not, are like, well, all this food is here. I better eat it now because I might not have access to it later. So, when she sees, a treat pouch, she's going to try to eat all the treats in the treat pouch, whether that's good for her or not. So really paying attention to that. She's about 32 pounds right now. She did get tons of dewormers and things like that to make sure it wasn't a medical condition that was, keeping her thin. She, according to our vet, has to gain about 15 more pounds, like 46 to 50 pounds is going to be her ideal weight. So she needs a family that's going to help her continue with that journey. She's been with us a little while before we put her on the adoption floor, because we had to get her to a healthier weight before we could even make her available. But if you want to continue to help Pineapple with her journey and give her all of that special love and TLC that she needs, you can go to visit fcac.as.me to start that next phase. The last pets that we have for you today are a bonded pair. This is about close to 140 pounds of love and cuddles. These guys are Conde and Tokyo. So Tokyo is the bigger of the two. He's the male. The way that we tell them apart is that his head is kind of basically, especially his face, is all white. And then Tokyo is a little bit smaller. She has the red dot over one of her eyes. And while there are two of them and they're quite large, they're actually some of the easiest dogs, even walking and handling them together, that we have on the floor, because they're so well mannered. They walk really nicely. They both know sit. The thing is that they both really enjoy being in your space. So if you were to make these guys part of your family, I hope that you have really large couches and beds and things like that, because they love human attention. The only thing they love more than human attention is attention from each other. So these guys know sits. Again, they walk pretty nicely. They take treats really nicely. They're very playful. They're very affectionate. They're kind of what everybody is looking for in a dog. But the thing is that they'll probably be here for a while because you have to take them together. So that is something that may make their stay a little bit longer here. They're relatively clean in their kennel. They're not, tearing up tons of stuff all the time. And the staff just really enjoy them. They love taking them out on walks together and letting them play and interact. Volunteers take them out, and nobody really has any issues with these guys. They are a bonded pair, which means they do have to be adopted together. But we do try to help out with that, because when you adopt two animals, we do give you a little bit of a discount $20 is typically the discount that you would get when you have to take on 2 pets. So we do try to help with the cost a little bit there. But again, they're super easy. And they get along really well. So a lot of people are looking to have multi-dog households. And if that's what you're looking for, why not start out with 2 that already really get along? You know, they love each other and they're going to be okay to be left alone when you're not there.
So people often wonder, how do we determine that dogs are bonded or cats are bonded?
So sometimes we take things into consideration, like how long have they lived together? These guys are only 2 and 3 years old, so they've really only been together for about 2 years. But we also look at how they interact with each other when they're here. These guys actually cuddle together and they sleep together. They spoon, they play together. And one of the big factors is that when they're not together, they actually get quite upset. They look for each other. When you try to walk them, if you walk even just a couple of feet ahead, the other one that's behind is pulling forward so that they can get together. They whine. We took them to the radio, and even though they were in the van together in crates where they were right next to each other, because they couldn't see each other because there was a blanket in the way, they whined the entire trip. Moved the blanket, they could see each other on the way back. They were perfect and quiet the entire time. So they really do to rely on each other for that sense of comfort and safety, and they enjoy each other's company, and they don't fight with each other. A lot of times we'll have dogs that come in together and we try to house them in a kennel together, and all of a sudden we have to separate them because the confined space is too much for them, and they actually are doing really well, which is another thing that indicates that they really do need to be together. They are not the only bonded pair right now on our adoption floor. They just happen to be the biggest. If you're looking for an older and a smaller bonded pair, we do have 2 female Chihuahua mixes who are also looking for forever homes. So if you're interested in these guys, again, as always, the first step is to go to visit fcac.as.me. As I mentioned at the beginning of the show, our dog population is still quite high. So if you didn't see anything that you think is going to be a good fit for your household, check out our website, check out our Facebook page, or book an appointment and come in and visit and look, because we have plenty of adoptable dogs, cats, rabbits, hamsters. We have everything right now, looking for forever homes. So we hope that you enjoyed the show and that you'll stop in and visit some of our adoptable pets.